Oh, no, it's recording. Oh, great. Oh, good. So now we're going to look at the content of the pre-course reading. Today is the 17th of March. This is our first bonus class. Okay, and I just want to draw your attention to the Getting Started Guide and the study plan. The Getting Started Guide is a PDF document of, I can't remember exactly how many pages, but several pages. And it goes through how to sign up with CFA Institute, what you get when you sign up, which calculators you should be using, and the pre-course reading. Okay, it goes through each topic area and what you should do in terms of pre-course reading before the course starts on the 2nd of August. Okay, and we will support you with the pre-course reading, meaning if you have any questions, please contact us. And also we will be having these classes, so 5 classes. Okay, just to give you a bit of help, keep you on track with the pre-course reading. Okay, that's the idea of the classes. Okay, so this first class is to focus on ethics. Okay, and we have 3 readings which should be done as pre-course reading for ethics. And then the next one will focus on quants and FRA. Okay, I'm going to give a little bit of an introduction to that because I would like you to focus on reading ethics, quants and FRA between now and the 21st of April. Okay, so your objective between today and the 21st of April, okay, so a month, is to read the Ethics, Quants and FRA Home Study, Financial Reporting and Analysis, FRA's Financial Reporting and Analysis, a critical part of the curriculum for Level 1, 20% of the exam. Okay. So that's the idea. And then we've got additional classes. So in the end, by the time we get to the 2nd of August, we will have gone through each of the topic areas and the pre-course reading for all of them. Okay, which means that on the 2nd of August, you're going to be in a great position in terms of you will understand some basic concepts and some simple things. You will also know the more factual parts of the syllabus. Okay, which means we can concentrate on the real core concepts which you absolutely must know for the exam. Okay. So please interrupt me if you have any questions. Okay, otherwise I will continue. So pre-course reading is critical for you to do this. We've got a suggested number of. Okay, so let me just show you this. So this table here is from the study plan, the Excel study plan that you have. It has a tab saying readings. And I've just filtered by pre-course reading here to create this table. Okay, not all of the readings are set as pre-course readings, so there are 58 readings in total. Okay, and these ones here with a number of hours in this column are the ones that were set for pre-course reading. So ethics, we've got readings 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and as the reading number, which is from the reference to the reading in the CFA Institute curriculum. And then we've got the importance of the reading, the title of the reading, the total suggested number of hours. That's the total number of hours you should spend on that reading during your whole preparation process. Okay, so you can see sometimes the pre-course reading is less than the total, and that's because we will be doing more work on that reading during the course, and you will also see that reading in the practice exam, so you're going to come across it again. Okay, we've just got in some cases we're just saying make a start the reading before the course. Okay, and that's why we've got 3 hours, for example, here, pre-course reading, but 10 hours in total, because we're going to come back to that reading. Okay, and this is the class that covers those readings. So today, ethics. Okay, and I'm going to give you a little introduction to the readings that should be done before the next class. So we have a methodology which is you should be doing the reading before each class. Okay, so this applies to the bonus classes. It also applies to all of the classes once the course starts. You will be in a much better position if you have done the reading before the class, because you will be able to ask questions and you will understand the class better and you will get more value from it. Okay, so please try to do the quants, financial reporting and ethics readings before the next class so you can ask questions. Okay. All right. So core material and the most highly examined concepts are covered on the prep course. The factual material, non-core material is set as home study. Okay, that's the idea. Once you sign up for the course, we will send you the SHP study plan and getting started guide. with more guidance on the pre-course reading, which there's a minimum of 25 hours. Okay, this is a minimum. You can spend more on these, but the point is that you need to accompany this program. So you need to plan your time so that you finish reading ethics, quants, and financial reporting before the 21st of April. So if you are spending too long on any reading, you need to work out how to be quicker. Okay? So either you read less or you read more actively, you read faster. Okay, but you need to be getting through the material. And like I said, 80%, you don't need to know everything. To be honest, it would be impossible to know everything in a curriculum anyway. There's so much of it. Okay, so 80%. And we will give you the guidance during the course as to what is most important. Okay, because we will be doing practice questions which are on the most important concepts. We talk about the most important concepts in the class. So you are really going to be in a very comfortable position, and you're going to have all of the support you need in the preparation process. Okay, so this pre-course reading is just to give you a taste, okay, of the topics, just a taste, just to start you, to warm things up so that you're ready to go once the course starts. And like I said, we will support you with any questions you have. So if you have questions, please let me know. Okay, either by email or by WhatsApp. I will create the WhatsApp group for our classes today. There will be a quiz on the pre-course reading during the first class, so come prepared. Okay, we'll have a little test on the pre-course reading, the first class on the 2nd of August. Okay. All right, so approach to the reading. I recommend that you review the learning outcome statements related to the reading. Those are at the beginning of each reading. There are around 500 learning outcome statements in the CFA Program curriculum, and they are things that the candidate should be able to do, the exam candidate. So every question in the exam will be based on a learning outcome statement. So demonstrate the application of the Code of Ethics and Standards of Professional Conduct to situations involving issues of professional integrity. So you need to be able to demonstrate that you know, show you know how to apply the ethics guidance of CFA Institute in particular situations. So you see the learning outcome statements, then you start to read through the reading. Okay, you don't need to read everything, focus on achieving the learning outcome statements. There are actually some optional parts in the readings, and they are marked as optional down the side. Okay, so you don't need to read those bits. I would recommend you don't, to be honest. Optional readings you should not be doing, okay, because you are going to run out of time. Answer the questions at the end of the reading within 24 hours of completing the reading. So at the end of each reading, there are practice questions for you to do. It's really important to do those because sometimes we find that we can read content and then just forget it, and not be able to apply it. Okay, the key thing is to test your understanding is to be able to answer the questions correctly. Okay, so make sure within 24 hours before you've forgotten everything, do the practice questions at the back of the reading. Okay, mark the ones you got wrong and go back later, okay, to make sure you're getting them correct. Okay. There are also summaries at the back of each reading, so you might want to go straight to the summary and just read the summary. Okay, another idea. Okay, so ethics. Readings 1, 2, and 3 were set as pre-course reading. Okay, so reading 1, ethics and trust in the investment profession. It's just a general introductory reading. It's important because you need to understand about how important trust is in the investment profession. The investment profession would not work without trust. People have to trust in their investment advisors. They have to trust in banks, or they will never put their money in the bank. And the way for if the money doesn't go into the bank, then it can't be lent on to borrowers. So we don't have the distribution from savers to borrowers in the financial system. So very important, okay, but nothing we can really add much value to in class, okay. So that is not covered in class, okay, apart from at a very high level. So 1 hour should be dedicated to that in total as pre-course reading, okay. So this is where you need to start thinking about your study plan. So for example, you might think, okay, I'm going to start this weekend with ethics. I'm going to read Ethics and Trust in the Investment Profession this morning, maybe after this class, or maybe this afternoon, or whenever, okay? And then I'm going to read the Code of Ethics and Standards of Professional Conduct, which is another 1 hour, you've got 1 hour study time allocation. We're not going to cover it in the course, okay, because we can't add much value to this. Code of Ethics and Standards of Professional Conduct. So when are you going to read that? Okay, it's another hour. And then this one is absolutely critical. It's one of only 4 critical readings in the curriculum. Okay, we will come back to this many times. You're going to see it during the course. We mention ethics a lot. We talk about it. We keep reminding you because this is so critical. So we've got guidance for standards 1 to 7. Okay, and we've got 40 practice questions at the end of this reading. So in total, we suggest you spend around 10 hours on this reading. Okay, and we said 3 hours for pre-course reading. Now, it's going to be difficult, in fact, I think impossible, to read the entire reading in 3 hours. Okay, but what I would like you to do is get an overview of what's in the reading. So just flick through it, go through the pages, go through the online platform, go through the reading, just to see what's in there. So basically, the structure is you've got each standard, and then a blue box underneath each one. It explains what it is. So read those definitions. Definitions in the blue boxes. They're kind of blue-grey boxes. Read the definitions. And then there's some guidance on applying the standard. And then there's something really useful, which is practical examples or cases. Examples of the application of the standard. So those ones are what you should focus on, because remember the learning outcome statement was about being able to demonstrate the application of the Code of Ethics and Standards of Professional Conduct in situations, in specific situations. So there are many specific situations in these examples, and that's what you need to get familiar with. Okay, and you should also do readings 1 to 40. Now, so you've got 3 hours for that. Okay, so in total this is 5 hours of reading, at least. You could easily spend a lot more time on reading 3. Okay, now you could do that, but you need to consider that you should also be reading quants and financial reporting and analysis. Okay, so what I recommend is only 3 hours on this reading to start with, and if you have time, you can come back to it. So I would recommend you spend the next week, and again, it depends when you're going to study, but the next week doing ethics. Okay, so do ethics, start this weekend, finish during the week doing ethics, okay? Because then, and remember our deadline for all of this reading is going to be, I haven't quite finished with ethics, but it's going to be the 21st of April. That's the next bonus class, okay? So just to continue with study tips, then I'm going to give you an overview of quants and financial reporting and analysis to help you, okay? So there is no shortcut to reading through all of the standards of professional conduct, the 7 standards. To put yourself in a good position with your studies, you should aim to be fully familiar with the 6 components of the Code of Ethics. Okay, so there is a list of 6 things in the Code of Ethics, so you need to know, be familiar with those. Why do I say familiar? You don't need to be able to write them, to repeat them word for word, but you do need to be able to recognize them. So you might get a multiple choice question asking you which one of these is in the Code of Ethics, and you need to pick the correct one. So you need to be familiar with them. Okay? And you need to read each of the standards, but be able to apply them. So the examples in the application of the standards are key to understanding the standards. The examples explain the often subtle difference between what is permissible, what is allowed under the ethical standards, and what is not. So read those examples to get familiar with them. Okay? And because the exam questions will test you through examples. They are example-based questions. They will ask you, they will give you an example, and they will say what is an appropriate way of behaving that's consistent with the codes, the standards of professional conduct. Okay. Okay, so we've got ethics and trust, the first reading, the Code of Ethics, which is the 6 items here in the second reading, and then the third reading, standards of professional conduct. So all of those are home study. And then there is reading 4 and 5 actually on GIPS, Global Investment Performance Standards, which we cover in class. Okay. We cover what you need to know in class. So I would like you to focus on reading 1, 2, and 3, as we just mentioned, for home study. Okay, this is a list of the standards, just for you to know. So standards 1 to 7. professionalism. These are all the ways, the standards for the conduct, the behaviour of investment professionals, so CFA candidates and CFA charter holders. Professionalism, integrity of capital markets, duties to clients, duties to employers, investment analysis, recommendations and actions, conflict of interest, and responsibilities of CFA Institute CFA candidate. Okay, we do have a class on this in the teaching phase of the course, but if you are able to spend at least 3 hours on the pre-course reading, it will help you. All right, so a little introduction to quants as well. So we just said we've got 5 hours to spend on ethics. Okay, so now, and remember we're talking about we've got a month here, so we basically got 4 weeks. So ethics is going to be 1 week with 5 hours. Okay, and of course this depends on your own schedule. So maybe you have a very busy week next week. If you have a very busy week next week, then you need to think about doing this ethics reading maybe the week after, but then you need to think about how you're going to incorporate quants and financial reporting. Okay, so you need to make some decisions and really think quite seriously about your study planning. So quantitative methods is 12% of the exam. We only have 2 readings, that is pre-course reading, okay, and we've only got 1 hour on each one. So the time value of money and discounted cash flow applications. These readings are both critical, okay, so they're 2 more of the 4 critical readings. The other critical reading is in financial reporting on ratio analysis, okay, so we've got 4 critical readings. These 2, now again, you're not going to be able to get through everything, but I just want you to look at the Getting Started guide that I sent to you, which has got some information on what you can do in terms of pre-course reading on quants. And just make a start, okay? So just read the learning outcome statements. Try to get familiar with what's in this reading, okay? And do you know it already? Have you already done work on this area? Is it going to be easy for you? Is it going to be difficult? Okay, it really depends on what you've done before. So try to get familiar with those readings. But again, don't spend too much time on them because we're actually going to come back to them again during the course. Okay, and spend quite a lot of time on them. Okay, so that's something important to remember. And then these other areas. Actually, don't know. This one should be pre-course reading. Okay, I'm going to put 4 hours here. Okay, so sorry that's not. And I will update the study plan. Okay, so this one should be pre-course reading, technical analysis. Okay. We are not going to cover that in class. We do actually cover it at a high level, but there's a lot that we don't cover. Technical analysis, it's all about recognizing, looking for patterns in trading activity in order to make profits. And it's very factual. You know, it's about learning definitions of different types of price movements and different patterns, like there's this shoulders diagram and things like that. So that one is definitely pre-course reading, okay? So we've got 6 hours of pre-course reading for quants. Okay, so again, think about where you're going to do that, how you're going to do it. Okay. So financial reporting and analysis, I mentioned it's 20% of the exam. You are not expected to be an accountant. Okay, you are expected to analyze accounts. Okay, so what does that mean? It means you need to know how the accounts work, how financial statements work, what the key ratios are, why are ratios important. We use ratios to analyze financial statements. So you need to know how to calculate them, and students often struggle with learning them. You need to actually learn them by heart, decorar, okay? Know the impact of different accounting policies on the comparability of accounts. Okay, so we have US GAAP and IFRS, and we need to be able to compare accounts prepared under those 2 standards. US GAAP, United States Generally Accepting Accounting Procedures, and IFRS, International Financial Reporting Standards, as we use in Brazil. And then analyze and make adjustments. So we need to make any adjustments between accounts to make them easier to compare, and also to remove items which are non-recurring, etc. There is repetition and overlap in the syllabus reading, so that's something you should be aware of. So what we do in the classes is we reorder the readings so that they flow logically and we don't have duplication. Okay, just to make it a bit easier for you. Okay. So let's have a look what we've got as the pre-course reading here. Okay, so we've got just 3 hours of pre-course reading. And what I'm actually going to suggest you do, what I found with the current students is I'm going to send you a list of formulae to learn. Okay, so I'm going to put 1 hour here, actually maybe 2 hours, to go through the formulae and learn them. Okay, so, and in fact, yeah, I think I'm going to send you a follow-up email with a little bit of extra guidance here on certain things to learn, okay, because it will help you a lot once the course starts. So financial statement analysis and introduction, general introduction, okay, spend about an hour reading that. Financial reporting mechanics, a couple of hours on that. That one is about debits and credits, okay. If you're already an accountant, you should be quite okay with these, but if you're not, you should spend some time on them. Financial reporting standards, IFRS, US GAAP, another hour on that, okay. So in total, we've got, with this additional 2 hours down here, learning the formulae. Okay, I will send you a list of formulas. That's 2, 4, 5, 6 hours. Okay. So you've got 6 hours on quants, 6 hours on financial reporting and analysis, and 5 hours on ethics to do before the 21st of April. Okay, 6, 12, 17 hours. Okay. So now that's my estimate. Okay. Really, with the studying, it's for you to work out how much time you have available. Obviously, the more time you spend and the more focused time you spend studying, the higher the chance of you passing the exam is. You know, I want everyone to pass, of course, so I would be very happy if you're able to spend more time studying, but what I want to see is you getting through the readings. Okay, so I want to see on the 21st of April that you have been able to do those ethics readings, quants and FRA readings, the pre-course reading. Okay, so that's, I don't want to hear, oh, I got stuck on ethics and I didn't read anything else. Okay, so try not to get stuck. Okay, do you guys have any questions for me? I hope this hasn't been too scary. Okay, I don't want it to be scary. It's not. There is a lot of work to do. It has to be taken seriously, but it's not impossible. Okay, it's just requiring persistence and planning and dedication. A bit of dedication. Okay. And remember, I'm here all the time. Okay, so if you have any questions or anything, I'm really very happy to hear from you. And as I mentioned before, I will set up a WhatsApp group so that we can talk more easily via WhatsApp about exam-related, study-related questions. Okay. So, any questions? I hope that was helpful. I haven't gone, okay. So if there's anything you want me to debrief, if you want me to talk about any specific technical issue or anything in the next bonus class, let me know, okay? It will be on the 21st of April. Okay. So try to do the ethics, quants and FRA pre-course reading before then. Okay, and just as a reminder, there's a little paragraph on each of those topics, of every topic actually, on every topic in the Getting Started guide. So let me I just opened this now. So what does it say? For quants, quantitative methods are covered in study session 2, reading 6 to 9, and study session 3, reading 10 to 13. Depending on your mathematical background, you may have some or no knowledge of the 2 key quantitative techniques covered, time value of money and statistics. Okay, so pre-course work that gives you some information. So read the Getting Started guide, then look into the reading. Okay, and let me know if you're having any problems. Okay? I'm here to help. So thank you for joining today, and see you soon. Okay, keep in touch. All right, have a nice weekend.